Hello. I had a guy I was helping in the Discord talking about the random weather and how to set weather with the ultradynamic sky ultradynamic weather plugin. So the first part is just you literally just select weather. If you wanted to start with a particular weather, you just select it from here. And then that's what it's always going to start with, is whatever you have selected there. Unless you come down to the random weather and you say begin play weather as random. So if you select that, then it's always going to be random whenever you start. And then if it's not random, it's always going to start here. So the part that was really messing him up was the random weather variation. So disabled is obviously disabled. Random interval uses the random weather change interval here, and this is in seconds. So if you want the weather to change every 200 to 300 seconds, then that's how you would do this. If you want it to change daily with the day cycle that you have going on here, which if you animate time of day, then it's going to take this day length and night length, so 45 minutes total, and then it's going to change the weather every day at this hour. So this would be 8 a.m. So you can change your day length, cycle, whatever in the ultradynamic sky part, or you can sync that manually with random interval if you don't want it to be tied to a particular time of day. And then the transition length is a ratio of whichever time that you have it set up for. So 0.35 would take a third of whatever the random number that this generates. Well, roughly a third, 0.35. So 35% of whatever random number this generates between 2 and 300. And then it would start transitioning over that period. So the other part of this is the seasons, right? It's by default, it's just going to kind of match whatever the ultradynamic sky has set, and whether or not you have this set to follow the actual, where is it, somewhere in here, you can have it set your actual day-night cycle to your specific elevation and everything. So the way that simulates that will have an effect on how it simulates the seasons and everything, unless you just manually set it to a season. And it shows right here, spring is 0, 1 is summer, 2 is autumn, 3 is winter, and then 4 is spring again. So right now we are in winter, so right now this is set to winter. And then you can offset this as well. And then this is how this is going to start, obviously. If you have it set to simulate the same weather as wherever you're at, that's only going to be the starting point. Because from there, obviously, it's going to have 45-minute days. So, yeah, you can mess with that and figure out the different settings that you want all of this stuff to be in the dusk and dawn and blah blah blah. But keep in mind, even if you're no, simulate actual weather, then it's not calling up the weather station and trying to match weather. It's just starting a simulation based off of whether or not you have the ultradynamic sky date and derived from that and blah blah blah. So if you want your game to go through full seasons over the span of, what does that end up being, 25 hours? No, it's more than that. 250 hours. Then, leave it at that. Otherwise, just keep in mind it will eventually change weather through all of these different seasons. And then you can also apply the different climate sets, which like cold, semi-arid, hot desert, blah, blah, blah. It's got all of these built-in climates for it. So yes, if you just throw this stuff in there out of the box, click some weather that you want it to be at, and then mess with these settings, you're going to have, winter-like weather for however long, or spring-like weather for however long, and then it's going to start changing through different seasons and stuff. So it's just something to be aware of, because if you start your game and you're like, you go and package it, export it, and you're playing for 10 hours, you're not going to notice those season changes. But, you put 200 hours into it, you're going to be like, why is it fucking snowing all the time? Or why is it raining all the time? It's actually literally going through all those seasons by default. So I hope that explains everything. Most of these do have tooltips, so be sure to read the tooltips. They are very enlightening, but not everybody does. And there was a bunch of questions, so I made a video, and here we are. Anyway, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.